All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball, episode 20 of Bean Talk. We're finally hitting another little milestone in our little podcast type segment. So yeah, obviously, going into week 8 of this season, my Rams are in the Thursday nighters, so obviously I have a lot more to get into once we get to the end of this video. But let's start off the open discussion. A lot of news that came on this week. I mean, what's some stuff that you want to get into first?
Yeah, probably the big one. Well, I'll probably have you start up, but obviously the Kupp one, which one we mentioned at with the Devontae video. The Rams are open to trading him. I don't know how you already had your.
I mean, we got into a little bit throughout
the last couple. It started as a rumor, but they made it official that
and
he could be a possible.
And yeah, we heard more and more of it. Obviously, we heard it just started as a little rumor. The Rams are open. To actually trading him, or at least teams are calling. That was the first thing. Which obviously every year we've heard the rumors of teams calling to see if Kupp was available, and the Rams will always say no. But this time we hear the Rams are actively calling back. We're shopping Cooper Kupp, so much so as that we're willing to take on his salary to facilitate a trade. Now that's what really came out as shocking to me that we'd want to do that. And then sure, obviously later we saw once the D-Hop trade came through. Came out that the Chiefs wanted him, but they didn't want to give up high capital in the draft, and which that was obviously why I kind of already went over this in the D-Hop video that we wouldn't give up Kupp and help the salary if we weren't getting some pretty high compensation. So the more we hear, I think it was mainly the Chiefs having that interest, and now when I think overall it was a lot of smoke and mirrors for the Kupp trade. I think it was just the Chiefs had concrete interest. The Rams were calling back, hearing out the interest, but overall I don't think there's much aside. I know you're hearing about the Steelers rumors. You're dogging on me, telling me maybe Kupp's a Steeler, but I didn't see much going into that.
I forgot where I saw it. Even before that, I was kind of in my mind like Pittsburgh could be a possible destination for him. We keep backtracking, they couldn't land Ayuk, they couldn't land another receiver.
Which is why, you would probably expect them to want that.
Especially now with the whole quarterback situation, you would want to add another weapon aside by George Pickens, so he's not having to do all the work for that receiving end there. But, that's what I think Pittsburgh could be a possible destination for. Obviously, they're going to have to give up a lot.
Yeah, and we're seeing, I guess, there have been, communication between the two sides. Would they want to? I just don't think the Steelers would want to give up that first round pick, and if I'm being honest, and it's gonna take a first round pick to.
It might take 2 if anything.
I doubt it'd be 2 if we're being honest. I mean, we've seen the compensation teams have been getting for stuff. I would think it's either a first round pick or a boatload of second round picks.
Maybe some players too. They're gonna have to have that.
But I mean, what do the Steelers have that we would want?
And then again, who the Rams have that the Steelers want? But it's just all.
Kupp. I mean,
aside from Kupp.
Because I mean, they'd only be getting Kupp. That is the main thing. I mean, if we're gonna look at it that way, but I mean, just overall, looking like smoke and mirrors. Obviously, the other Rams trade rumor looking at Matthew Stafford. In this game's matchup, we heard that the Vikings had been calling over and over. Seems like there was no truth to that rumor overall, from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing. So, I mean, and we kind of got into, what would the Rams be getting back for him? Obviously, I wouldn't doubt if Darnold was, would we be getting back? I would say, at this point, give us McCarthy, but what do we know about McCarthy that would even make that trade valuable?
Obviously, he hasn't showed up with his injury out for the season. Just a lot of raw talent. Can't really put any implications on there as well. Even if Darnold, even if that trade was going to go down, Darnold's still young. He's in his late 20s.
No, he was just drafted in 18.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally, I don't know why some people were saying he's old. Like, bro, drafted in 18. He's the same, quite literally.
Well, he's in that Baker, Lamar.
That's what I'm saying. Saquon. He's in he's in all that, excuse me. He's on that age range, and I think, really good if Darnold would go to the Rams in there, but really doubt Rams are going to give up Stafford at the moment right now.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got another season, maybe 2 left.
I say, after this year, 25 is probably the last of it. There's obviously the definite chance that this could be his last year, depending on how everything turns out. But I mean, I think even overall, unless the Vikings or any other team wants a win now situation that you want to capitalize now, you're not looking at Stafford, towards the future, similar to why I guess the Jets putting so much into Aaron Rodgers is a little puzzling to me if we're gonna go that route. But yeah, I wouldn't really expect. I mean, I think that that's enough of that. We can get into all the stuff going into this week. I know something very big that we're both very, very happy to see Jameis Winston finally getting that start.
so excited for Jumbo, man. Obviously, the Brown season, bottom division, 1-6. There's really no hope coming at this point. You're just gonna expect it to tank, which is the obvious bet there. Obviously, the AFC is already way too tight. I still want to just Jumbo ball out, also bring some life into this Browns team, even if they lose out these games. At least bring in the chemistry.
Let's also not forget the team they're playing in the Baltimore Ravens.
Exactly.
So I mean, look, I'm not expecting him to ball out too much. I mean, it's just nice to see him back out on the field.
I would love to see him, at least have some glimpses of that.
And then also, just to bring up too, how the top 2 picks in the 2015 draft might be getting on the field once again the same week with Marcus Mariota if Jaden Daniels doesn't play this week.
Because they did confirm that the Commanders are going to try.
It's fine. It's not going to be that long term.
They're going to try and have him practice Friday. The keyword is try. So there's obviously still some issues with the reserves there. Nothing official yet so far with Mariota starting. We're probably going to get the news about that either tomorrow or Saturday, probably in the morning or in the afternoon around there, obviously before the night before the game. That's going to be a game time if they're really having issues with the ribs there. But it would be nice to see Mariota and Jabo, some old guys that we used to watch growing up would be really nice to see there. But obviously the better one here will be Mariota just because, the position that the Commanders are in there. But like I said, with the Cleveland Browns situation, not going to expect them to make a huge run as of everyone would expect there. But, I would like to see Jabo get this whole team going, bring some little spirit. Even if it's in the Ravens game, it's probably going to be a blowout. But if it's not, would have been nice to see. But, we got to have our love for Jabo right there.
Of course, man. I mean, also we look at, if we're just going to look at the Commander side, we're expecting that Browns game to be probably a blowout, not see too much. But the Commander side, if Mariota gets in, they're playing the Bears. Obviously, that's a good defense too. But, you feel, that's a relatively even matchup. Both 2-loss teams, I guess, little surprising to see themselves getting into the mix of, playoff conversations early. That's a matchup that we could definitely keep an eye on. But I think the biggest matchup overall, obviously, aside from the 2 matches that we're keeping an eye on, Falcons and the Buccaneers. They're playing the tail end, the return match of this. Probably, the game that's going to determine who wins the NFC South.
They're both Falcons are obviously in the lead right now with the division.
And obviously coming off that phenomenal OT win just a couple weeks ago.
Exactly too, and then they just came off the loss against the Seahawks, so there's obviously more implications for them too. Both of these teams coming off the loss. They're both 4-3, top of the division there.
But of course, the Buccaneers coming in with possibly without their top 2 receivers.
Not even possible. Mike Evans, not even possible. Mike Evans.
You're right. You're right.
Godwin's on IR. He's done for the season. Mike Evans.
Forgot Evans. It was pretty much.
Evans is probably going to miss the time as well. Nothing stated on that.
Which is why I said possibly, because you never know if the doctors do their magic. But we're expecting.
Just give
Mike Evans.
Just give him an hour. You're good. Get back on the field. Especially with how most of these teams strength and conditioning. People are really not.
Which is how Jameson Williams.
Exactly. Look at fucking J-Mo right there. But this is going to be one of the better matchups coming in today. We're going to see some Baker magic and, overcome all the differences. Maybe. But the way this Falcons team is, structured on both ends of the ball with Kirko and obviously him getting London more involved in the passing games, and Kyle Pitts. It's another guy that you really wanted to see ball in the offense. Bijan getting more.
Actually getting a lot more involved ever since, I think in the last 2-3 weeks, they're involving him bit by bit more. I think specifically in that game against the Buccaneers on Thursday night a couple weeks ago, he definitely, put up some decent numbers, and they've been getting him involved recently.
We know we had Bijan was dealing with a minor injury the past couple weeks there, but we saw him. He was getting more involved. He was getting more touches. Raheem Morris just realized, oh my God, Bijan's our running back. Let's keep feeding the ball.
And let's also not forget, what happens when you paired him pretty well with Tyler Algier.
Exactly. That's what I said. I know you were a little skeptical when we saying that, but I told you, Bijan and Algier, they could be a potential to be a top 10 duo in this league here. And what I say, I know you had some doubt there, but what did I tell you? And this game's really going to determine it there, especially with how this Bucs defense. Once you find that weak spot, it's exactly what the Ravens did. It's the run attack. You see how quick Derrick Henry got going in the run game. They couldn't stop him for anything. Bijan and Algier get going in the run game, just easy, and it's going to be easy for Kirk Cousins and Drake London to put up some points. I hope, Drake London 2 touchdown game, please. It'll really help me on fantasy on this one. Thank God, please. But still, without a doubt, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It's still going to be a really close game. It's going to be a really nice quarterback battle. But again, it's going to determine the run game between both sides of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm expecting, another real-time matchup just like the one we got a couple weeks ago. But I think another one that I'm really interested in, Eagles, Bengals, two teams that, we expected so much more out of them. And I know the Eagles, they're 4-2, it looks better, but it's a rough 4-2 record.
You see the flaws, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up. And it's Jalen Hurts. It is because quarterback. I know he had my stuttering issues. He had a little bounce back against the Browns game towards the second half, getting more in the pass game. Getting more accumulated there. Don't really have to pass a lot. When you got Saquon Barkley at the running back position there. And like I said, Saquon's another example. Once he gets going in the run game, it's gonna be really hard to stop them. And Jalen Hurts is just gonna get in his zone there. But you got AJ Brown back, so your pass game, it's gonna be better. You got your number one receiver,
and especially when we consider that struggling Bengals secondary.
As soon as he gets downfield 20 yards, it's gonna be an easy bomb for Jalen here. But he does miss some throws as well. Just like every other quarterback in the league, they're gonna miss some big throws. It happens all the time. So I'm not just gonna sit here shit on Jalen Hurts, but again, we gotta see some more in the pass game there. If Saquon's not getting going, which I have mentioned before, Saquon can't get going. A little struggle on Hurts, but it's definitely going to be another good game, especially looking at that Bengals to see if the Eagles can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and on the Bengals side of the ball too, offensively, we see, Jamar and Joe Burrow really, starting to click. I mean, obviously,
Higgins as well.
Yeah, and honestly,
to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, Higgins is the one that I guess, let's say, he's actually starting to click, because the Jamar and Burrow connection has actually looked pretty well throughout, even through the Bengals' struggles, that rough start. And I think a lot of this that we see in this game, is a pretty high-powered, receiving core going against a battered secondary, and let's see which one comes out on top more looking into that.
A young, inexperienced secondary too, Quinton Mitchell. He's been having some flashes there, getting beat a couple times here or there, but again, he's a rookie. He's gonna learn from that. And, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins rotating between the two is really gonna show his, his true potential. See if he's able to contain them there. It's obviously gonna be a tough matchup for them too. And then obviously, probably I would say the biggest one is the Cowboys and the Niners game. Just looking at the trajectory with both these two teams. I think the Niners, they're gonna be out with McCaffrey still after the optimism that he might return. Doubt it. Debo, he had the illness. I think he might be out that game.
He had the pneumonia thing and something with some of the stuff with his lungs. Yeah.
Kittle was questionable.
He had the ankle thing, right? But I'm expecting him to go though.
He's probably gonna play there. Expect another big Kittle game because somehow he just does great against the Cowboys. And then obviously Ayuk with the ACL is gonna be done for this season there. So it's gonna be a lot there, but again, you still have Jordan Mason, who is coming out of a game who probably his worst game so far in the season against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, he did nothing on the ground there, but when you're looking at the Cowboys defense, the one big takeaway from this, the defense, the rush defense, they are horrible against the run. Now we saw they contained with Devin Singletary and Najee Harris from those two wins there. But on the Detroit Lions, with Montgomery and Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles, their nicknames that they gave in there, they were just going through us. Exactly. David Montgomery had no issue, but David Montgomery, he did have that. I think it was the injury and the leg injury against
I'm not exactly
sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been too status on the injury as well, but I think he's good for that as well. But this is really good to determine this to see if the Niners are gonna have a bounce back, specifically with Brock Purdy. We see even Dak, both their quarterback plays so far hasn't been a lot there. Dak, I'm still gonna defend Dak. Obviously, that's my guy right there. But same with Purdy, not gonna have too much on it. But their quarterback play right now has been very mediocre with the interceptions there. So this is gonna be it's really just gonna be a battle of which quarterback is gonna get their offense going first, and it's gonna see which defense is gonna be able to hold their own, especially with all the injuries aside. I don't even think Mike is gonna start this game. Deron Bland's looking to start this game. Same with Kellen Carson. I doubt it. And then I think another injury, Marshawn Lynn, IR, D-Law still out. So there's a lot of injuries on both sides on the ball with the Cowboys. Same with the Niners there. But again, it's going to be whose quarterback is really going to lead this offense early on in the game and which defense is going to be able to contain with all the missing pieces.
Yeah, in large part, I think because the Niners defense is like a little, I mean, they're not as bad. I mean, sure, they're not fully healthy either, but because they have those less injuries, which, I mean, for being honest, it's kind of like, the Niners defense and Cowboys offense, they're relatively at full strength. It's both the other defense and offense that, that they're going to be the hampered side that, see how, those injuries affect them and see how the backups fare there. But I mean, overall, I would think the Niners just have the edge. I mean, overall, being the home team and, having a healthier defense, I mean, they're going into it. But honestly, you never know. Any given Sunday, see how, see if Dak can wake up, get me some fantasy points.
That's what I'm hoping.
You're going to possibly be there.
I'm going to be there. Might be nice.
Is it confirmed yet?
Not yet. I think that for 2 tickets, it's like It's like 140.
I checked them out. They were like 140.
Yeah, so they're not bad because they're at 300 in the start of the season, right? And my dad, we didn't have time. Like both of them, they're butt right now. They're ass right now. They're gonna go down, and they indeed did go down there. But I think we might bring some other family members with us, so the tickets might be a little more expected. But we might be at the game. We went to the Baltimore game.
Hopefully how that went
with his birthday. Hopefully with my birthday, which is on Friday. Hopefully that could be a nice birthday present for the Cowboys. But like I said, this Cowboys team, when we're playing a team that has a lot of miscues and that came off a horrible win, we just gave it the win. Like I mentioned, as jokes, Brock Purdy 4-touchdown game incoming. Who knows? Maybe I can eat my words and that doesn't happen there. But we're just gonna have to win and see. And I hope Kid Dak usually bounces back after the bye week. So I'm really hoping for something there and the connection with CeeDee there. And there's receiving core in the end. Still a lot of issues there. I'm never gonna see if CeeDee can pick up the whole load.
Yeah, and I think before we move into my game, of course, one last big piece of news that's coming. Tua Tagovailoa actually being activated. He is expected to go week 8.
That's what he's expecting. He's already back into practice. He's already had the report, so he's out of practice. Tyreek Hill's already had it. He's that he's happy to see him back there. They're optimistic that he's gonna start on Sunday. Not confirmed yet that he's gonna play, but they are optimistic that that he's gonna play on Sunday. And he did say he's not gonna wear the guardian cap. Wear the guardian cap, Tua, please.
Look, obviously he's not.
Yeah,
we know he's not. Yeah. I understand. I've seen some reports too. The helmet he wears, I don't know if he's switching into this helmet that it's supposed to help with head injuries. It's supposed to, I know there's some technology that they have inside the padding that is supposed to, act as good as a guardian cap. I don't know, man. For your own health too. It'd be nice to see him just, you can wear that and the guardian cap, really keep yourself safe. But
wear for the one game. At least you're coming back, man. And if he does come back, when we're looking at implications for the season, they're 2-4, 3 games behind the Buffalo Bills. 99% faith, 1% chance. There's not really a really big chance that they can make a run in the division, maybe maybe they can sneak in one of the lower seeds if the Broncos decide to have finish off having a shitter season to shit the bucket. The Chargers end up obviously as well. They're just one game behind the Broncos. The Indianapolis Colts and Rich decides to just be horrible and just rock it out.
It's not looking because we're seeing a lot stronger, a lot top heavier in all of the teams that we expected to not be in are suddenly in the playoff conversation. So it's a lot harder. The way we say, if it continues this way, you might as well just let him sit, just shut him down for the season, similar to what the Rams did in 22 when we were obviously going through our struggles. Just let him sit, just get a higher draft position, get another piece, get him an old lineman to protect him, man. At this point, just got to look out for him.
Yeah, at this point, you got to, I know the way that Tua, he wants to be out there. He wants to be with the guy. I know Mike McDaniels. He wants to win. But when you're looking at these implications here, like I mentioned, could there be a chance to make a run? Maybe so, but it depends on his injury. Now, when we're looking at the standings here, the top four, the 4 seeds, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Ravens, the Buffalo Bills. Now we're moving to the next ones. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Then we got a tie between the Broncos and the Colts. Right? That's already the 7 there. Right?
And there's still other teams that are very much alive.
Other teams that are very, very much alive. The Bengals are still alive. The Chargers still have a decent chance at 3-3 here. So, and the implications, they're there. But obviously, when you're looking at this offense team, Tua coming back, does that really make a difference here? Look at the defense too. That's also another issue that they have there. Yeah. There's obviously some bright spots with that defense containing their own there. But closing into the season, the implications there. And then once December comes around, not really going to think anything there. So at this point, you could rest Tua there, but again, Tua's going to be, he's going to want to be out there and he's going to want to play.
Yeah, obviously understandable, but there's just business side of things that you do have to look into it. And before we move into our last 7, still going through a little dry spell of people sending us stuff to talk about. So we definitely gotta invite you guys to actually give us some, even at carbs, because even if you guys just send us your regular bias stuff or whatever.
I think he just gave up on them.
Just keep sending stuff our way. Even if you're just gonna dog on your team, just send stuff our way and we'll have stuff to talk about. But yeah,
Rams Vikings, close it out.
Get into the Thursday nighter. I will be in attendance, so there's a good chance that we both get to see our teams in action going into this week. I mean, tickets had been going down, so had to pull the trigger on that. Expecting a very good game with this, a Vikings team very hungry coming off their first loss of the season against obviously another really strong Lions team. They're hungry. There's a lot of doubters going into them, but as for the Rams, Kupp is back. Puka Nacua is questionable now. He's obviously off IR. We activated the practice window. For sure. Don't even say those things. But yeah, we activated the practice window on Puka, and surprise to me, he's actually getting. We're trying to see if he's going to be ready to go by game time.
It's not
likely going to be a game time.
It's not an official, yeah.
No.
But they're leaning towards.
It's a game time decision, I think. But it looks like we're leaning towards playing him. All things considered, we look at that. And one thing to consider too, Jordan Whittington's gonna be out. Joseph Noteboom, who he's been out since week 1, he won't be in action. So those are two things that I wish we could have had, but we won't. But regardless, as much as you see a 2-4 team against a 5-1 team, these two teams match up relatively well. We see at least now that the Rams are getting their weapons back, I think it's a great matchup against this, really high-powered Brian Flores defense. And, on the other side of the ball, this Vikings offense has been reeling. They're not looking the same. I mean, Justin Jefferson hasn't, really stood out as much as we've expected him to after that fresh start. And, Sam Darnold's kind of coming back down to earth. The MVP conversation is definitely quieted down.
Start. We mentioned it too. I mentioned it way before the season.
Just like 2016, exactly. Going into the bye.
Yeah. They finished 8-8.
Going into the bye. 5-0, lose week 6, see how it keeps going on from there. But I mean, yeah, the other part that I was gonna say, as the only other side about the, as great as that Brian Flores defense has been, the secondary still leaves a little more to be desired.
Exactly. And now when you got Jefferson and Addison, this is a perfect opportunity for them to take advantage of this really weak Rams.
I was talking about the Viking secondary, but yeah, that too. I mean, we can definitely get into that too. I know. I mean,
you are right. That Viking secondary and the defense is. Brian Flores, great defensive mind there. But again, if Puka comes back, that could be that could be a very different eye opener. Don't know how much of a
and of course, with Demarcus Robinson hasn't been looked that good as the one option. You slide him back into the 3, that definitely opens up a lot more possibilities. We even see what Tutu can do as back as a 4, but
it would be like it would be Puka, it would be D-Rob, and then it would be Tutu for the 3 stuff, and then it'll rotate between him and Tyler Johnson here and there. Obviously Jordan Whittington with the out,
and that's if we don't have Puka, because if it's just
it's gonna be D-Rob, it's gonna be Tutu, and then it's gonna be Tyler Johnson sliding into the third spot there. I mean, look, both secondaries are pretty chopped up. Obviously the Rams more of the lower side there, just because they got 2 top weapons with Jefferson and Addison there. That's a perfect opportunity for them to obviously help Darnold and get going active early. Because if that's the case here, the Rams not going to be doing anything there. And if it's going to be a close game or it's going to be a field goal game, Josh Carty hasn't been looking well this past 2 games. I know you've had your little ramp out that.
Yeah, he had obviously a phenomenal start to his season, I believe. I don't know, he had a good run for a while, not missing a kick, but missed a field goal and an extra point last week, missed an extra point 3 weeks ago before the bye. So, his confidence might be on a low right now. The overall confidence in the fan base might not be that good with him. It'd be nice to see him have a bounce back game. I mean, we know he has a leg. He'd be making 62 yarders in Stanford. Really need to see him, just get him back in that right mindset. But, I want to take it back to what you say, as you say, what Darnold can do to help himself. He's got a struggling secondary that he's Vikings fans are really hoping that he can pick apart. Yeah. The one thing I can say, this defense slowly has been finding themselves in the last 2 games. Chris Shula seems to have these guys playing well. Kobe Durant, reigning defensive player of the week with an interception and a forced fumble. And Jay McCall, someone else that I talked about last week, back-to-back games with an interception. Could he make it 3 in this game? Definitely think, all things considered, with these two teams looking on very much opposite spectrums, we're going to get a very nice, tight matchup.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to be a blowout because, with the Rams, they still managed to keep
And for some reason, apart from that Cardinals game, we've been playing all these tough, tight games.
When you Stafford at QB, you're going to expect the close game there. But like I mentioned, with the field goal games there, that when if it's going to be a field goal game, I mean, when you're looking at Will Ricard, Is it
It's Reichard.
Reichard. Okay, with Will Reichard, he's 12 for 12 of the year.
This season.
As long as that 50, he's been phenomenal there. So at the point where the Vikings get in field goal range and the Rams do get a stop, it's pretty much,
which is crazy to think the Vikings with a good kicker. Huh? It's crazy to think the Vikings.
Exactly. We know with Blair Walsh, right?
Blair
Walsh. We already know about that story there, but it's gonna be it's gonna be one of those good games, hopefully for you guys, and it's not gonna be a blow like it did when you experienced the Cardinals there. But we're gonna see Darnold bounce back, and hopefully see Puka. See what's gonna happen with that.
Yeah, of course. So I think we could. Well, actually, before we get into the parlay, make our game picks. I think I know where you're heading.
With the Vikings.
You'll go with the Vikings, and as for me, everything says the Vikings should win this game. But this is any given Sunday, any given Thursday in this situation, I'm gonna go with my Rams. I'm being attendance. I have to roll with my team. I think this is gonna be, from all the stuff that we've been talking about, it's gonna be a tight game, and Josh Carty gets his get back, and I'm expecting a tight Rams win. But we'll get into the parlay. Chris, road team first. Let you get started with the Vikings.
Yeah, so we mentioned already because of that secondary with Darnold. Going to go to over 1.5 pass TDs on this one. Hopefully you see a little bounce for them. Same with Jefferson, taking advantage of that weak secondary, going over on the 0.5 rush or reception touchdowns. The Aaron Jones, again, with the rush defense, and then obviously with Fisk being questionable. So that's already going to be a huge loss to that pass, to that rush defense. I'm going to go Aaron Jones. I'm going to go the safe option here with 59.5 over.
All right, yeah. Obviously very, very solid picks there, For my Rams, Matthew Stafford, his line is at 240.5. He hasn't really been getting that many yards, so I'm going to go the under on him. I think the large part of our offense in this game is going to be Kyren Williams, and in his line, I'm going to have him getting over 1 touchdown. This seems like a gimme, right? He's got 9 consecutive games with one, so, let's make it 10 this week. And my final one, Cooper Kupp, first game back, they're going to feed him. I'm expecting over 6.5 receptions. I think he's going to be a big part of this game. And I think that's pretty much going to do it, right? Obviously, hey, pretty big game. I think this video went a lot longer than we usually do, but, it was a busy week. So hopefully once we do another video, we'll be coming back from actual good games, from good performances from our teams. But
so I really,
yeah, of course, man.
I'm on the verge of just God.
I've became numb expecting it, but I want to see him do good in person. So thank you guys for watching. Over, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you right back, hopefully in good spirits for the Week 8 recap.